The pineal gland. The pineal gland is a tiny pine cone-shaped endocrine gland about the size of a grain of rice, tucked in a small groove where the two halves of the thalamus join. Aside from regulating sleep and wakefulness through melatonin production, the pineal gland, also known as the third eye, has been referred to the principal seat of the soul and is a common focus of spirituality and mysticism. Could this mysterious structure be the home to a sixth human sense, a transcendent power referred to in every major civilization since the dawn of recorded history? For thousands of years, the pineal gland has been a great mystery, an emblem of higher consciousness. It was only very recently that we discovered a molecular basis for these notions. In 2013, researchers at the University of Michigan discovered something incredible being produced in the pineal gland of live rats: DMT, the most powerful psychotropic molecule known to man. This game-changing discovery was predicted decades earlier by clinical psychiatrist and psychedelic researcher Dr. Rick Strassman, author of DMT, the spirit molecule. DMT, or dimethyltryptamine, is a psychedelic compound occurring naturally in over 200 plants, also produced endogenously in the brain, said to peak in humans during REM sleep and right before the moment of death. Researchers link DMT to out-of-body experiences, time-space distortion, birth, and other instances of mystical perception. DMT has been shown in several scientific studies to have a profound effect on consciousness. Discovering the pineal gland to be a producer of DMT has rooted the enigmatic myth of this structure being a gateway to expanded consciousness to a molecular, physiological basis. Even before the pineal gland was proven to produce DMT, its regulatory functions of wakefulness via melatonin secretion have connected the gland to meditation and trance states. Meditative states are correlated with a sharp increase in melatonin. A melatonin influx lets the brain know it's time for sleep. Naturally triggered by the onset of darkness, increased melatonin during meditative states lets the brain know to slow down, allowing the mind to drop from the highly attentive waking brainwave states of beta frequencies into the calm, intuitive dreaminess of alpha and theta states. It's easier to meditate in the morning or late at night because the pineal gland has already begun producing the melatonin necessary for the brain to slow down and drop into a more relaxed and expansive state of consciousness. By regulating melatonin, the pineal gland is regulating the frequency of brain waves, shamaning their corresponding spectrums of awareness. Between controlling the production of the powerful psychedelic DMT and regulating wakefulness and the frequency of brain waves with melatonin, it's clear that ancient civilizations and countless mystics were onto something when they linked this tiny pine cone-shaped enigma with enlightenment and seat of the self.
Many of the world's historical myths about dragons can be read as metaphors for the inner energies of the cultures in which they are embedded. In China, the dragon is still a sacred symbol representing happiness. Like the Egyptian pharaohs, ancient Chinese emperors who had awakened their evolutionary energies were represented by the winged snake or dragon. The royal totem of the Jade Emperor, or Celestial Emperor, shows a balance similar to Ida and Pingala. The yin and yang of Taoism, awakening the pineal center, or what in Taoism is called the upper dantian. Nature is full of different light detection and assimilation mechanisms. For example, a sea urchin can actually see with its spiky body, which acts as one big eye. Urchins detect light striking their spines and compare the beam's intensities to get a sense of their surroundings. Marine iguanas and other reptiles have a parietal eye or pineal gland on top of their heads, which they use to detect predators from above. The human pineal gland is a small endocrine gland that helps to regulate waking and sleeping patterns. Even though it is buried deep inside the head, the pineal gland is sensitive to light. The philosopher Descartes recognized that the pineal gland area, or third eye, was the interface between consciousness and matter. Almost everything is symmetrical in the human body: 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils. Even the brain has 2 sides. But there is one area of the brain that is not mirrored. This is the pineal gland area and the energetic center that surrounds it. On a physical level, unique molecules are formed naturally by the pineal gland, such as DMT. DMT also forms naturally at the moment of birth and moment of death, literally acting as a unique bridge between the world of the living and the dead. DMT is produced naturally during states of deep meditation and samadhi, or through entheogenic means. For example, ayahuasca is used in the shamanic traditions of South America to remove the veil between the inner and outer worlds. The word pineal itself has the same root as pine cone, because the pineal gland exhibits a similar spiral phyllotaxis pattern. This pattern, also known as the flower of life pattern, is common in ancient artwork depicting enlightened or awakened beings. When the pine cone image is seen in sacred artwork, it represents the awakened third eye, single-pointed consciousness, directing the flow of evolutionary energy. The pine cone represents the flowering of the higher chakras, which are activated as Sushumna rises to the Ajna chakra and beyond. In Greek mythology, the worshippers of Dionysus carried a thyrsus, or giant staff, wrapped with spiraling vines topped with a pine cone, again representing Dionysian energy, or Kundalini Shakti, as it travels up the spine to the pineal body at the 6th chakra. In the heart of the Vatican, you might expect a giant sculpture of Jesus or Mary, but instead we find a giant pine cone statue, indicating that in Christian history, there may have been knowledge of the chakras in Kundalini, but for whatever reason it was kept from the masses. The official church explanation is that the pine cone is a symbol of regeneration and represents new life in Christ. The 13th century philosopher and mystic Meister Eckhart said, "The eye with which I see God and the eye with which God sees me is one and the same." In the King James Bible, Jesus said, "The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light." The Buddha said, "The body is an eye." In a state of samadhi, one is both the seer and the seen. We are the universe aware of itself. When Kundalini is activated, it stimulates the 6th chakra and pineal center, and this area starts to regain some of its evolutionary functions. Darkness meditation has been used for thousands of years as a way to activate the 6th chakra in the area of the pineal gland. Activation of this center allows a person to be able to see their inner light. Whether it is the proverbial yogi or shaman retreating deep into a cave, or Taoist or Mayan initiate, or a Tibetan monk, all traditions incorporate a period of time during which one goes into the darkness. The pineal gland is the gateway to being able to experience one's subtle energy directly. The philosopher Nietzsche said, "If you stare into the abyss long enough, eventually you find the abyss stares back at you." Dolmens, or ancient portal tombs, are among the oldest remaining structures on Earth. Most date to the Neolithic period of 3000 to 4000 BC, and some in Western Europe are 7000 years old. The dolmen was used to enter into perpetual meditation, as a way for a human to bridge the inner and outer worlds. As one continues to meditate in total darkness, eventually one begins to observe inner energy or light as the third eye becomes active. The circadian rhythms, which are governed by the sun and moon channels, no longer control the functions of the body, and a new rhythm is established.
다큐에서는 이 쿤달리니 뱀이 척추를 타고 위로 올라가서 우리 눈 사이에 있는 6번째 차크라, 신안이죠.
네.
거기를 꿰뚫고 있다고 설명을 해요.
네.
결국 이것은 수승화강을 말하는 거죠.
Pharaohs and gods are depicted with awakened energy, whereby the Kundalini snake moves up the spine and pierces Ajna chakra between the eyes.
그리고 또 다른 호루스의 눈이라는 게 나오는데요. 호루스의 눈은 제3의 눈이에요. 그러니까 신안이죠. 상단전에 신안이 개안되는 것을 이제 호루스의 눈으로 표현한 건데요.
The divine connection to spirit.
다큐에서는 또 송과체에 주목을 합니다. 송과샘은 머리 안쪽 깊숙이 감춰져 있어서 빛에 민감하다고 해요.
네.
송과체에서 이 눈처럼 수정체나 망막 같은 그런 기관이 발견되었다고 하는데요. 그러니까 뭔가 이렇게 보는 기관이라는 거죠. 송과체는 삼신의 본성인 그 인간의 내면의 빛을 보는 기관, 환이라고 생각할 수 있습니다.
네.
바로 제3의 눈인데요. 이게 또 묘한 게 송과체에서 소나무 송자를 쓴다는 거죠. 모양도 솔방울 모양을 닮았다고 그래요.
예. 솔방울이 수행 문화와 이렇게 연결이 되는 거군요.
예, 이 솔방울 모양이 바티칸에 가보면 있어요.
네.
솔의 정원이라고 있는데 거기
네.
엄청나게 큰 솔방울이 있습니다. 이건 뭘 상징하는 걸까요? 종도사님 말씀에 의하면은 소도의 상징이 솔방울이라고 합니다.
네.
그 소도나무의 상징이 솔방울이라는 거죠.
그러니까 솔방울이 소노나무를 상징하는 거다.
예.
그 문화 코드가 이렇게 벌써 하나 풀리네요. 저도 왜 이렇게 바티칸 성당 입구에 솔방울 모양이 있을까 궁금했었는데 그 의문이 여기서 풀렸습니다. 솔방울과 송과 샘, 소도나무 그리고 새라는 것이 서로 이렇게 연결이 되는 개념이네요.
네. 그리고 또 이 연꽃이 나오는데요. 수행을 통해서 그 6번째 차크라의 눈이 열리면은
예.
100회의 그 후광이 나타난다고 합니다.
네, 네.
When Kundalini is activated, it stimulates the sixth chakra and pineal center, and this area starts to regain some of its evolutionary functions. The halo, or the depiction of an energy signature around an awakened being, is common to virtually all religions in all parts of the world. The evolutionary process of awakening the chakras is not the property of one group or one religion. It is the birthright of every human being on the planet.
그러니까 이집트 문화에서는 사람 머리 위에 태양으로 나타나고요. 또 기독교 성화에서는 예수님 머리 위에 둥근 빛으로 나타나죠. 힌두교나 요가에서는 이것을 사스라라라고 해가지고 천장의 연꽃잎이라고 부릅니다.
네.
부처님이 들고 있는 그 연꽃이 후광을 상징한다는 것이죠.
그러니까 연꽃에 이제 그런 상징이 있네요. 참 놀랍습니다.
예, 결국 이 다큐의 결론은요, 이 동서문화를 통틀어서 인간의 그 영적 본질과 종교의 상징성을 서로 연관성을 이렇게 정리해주고 있는데요.
네.
수행을 통해서 정을 끌어올려서 이 제3의 눈도 열고 또 깨달음의 인간이 되라는 게 이 작품의 교훈이라고 필자가 정리하고 있습니다.
예.
그러니까 이 작품을 가만히 들여다보면요, 그 유려한 영상미와 아름다운 음악까지 감상할 수 있고요. 그리고 동서문화를 깊이 연구하고 또 대중들을 위해서 이 작품을 무료로 공개한 그 제작자들의 착한 마음씨도 느낄 수 있는 것 같아요.
예. 저도 이렇게 위원님 말씀을 들으니까 수행할 때 잘 참조를 해서 한번 해봐야겠습니다. 내면 세계, 외부 세계, 시청자 여러분들께서도 꼭 한번 보시기를 권장드립니다.